is my favorite season of the year. There is something so light, so refreshing, so ethereal about it. Nature is coming back to life. Trees bring forth bright green leaves. Flowers are blooming. The birds are singing louder and sweeter, busily making nests and laying pretty eggs. And speaking of eggs, we have this sweet lady at church that brings eggs every Sunday from her own chickens. And they're so beautiful. It almost pains me to crack them open, almost, because they're so delicious. But if you look, oh my goodness, this color is so pretty. It's almost like a pastel green and so delicate. And that's why I'm so excited about this project, this craft. Recently, I saw in the internet these beautiful crochet Easter eggs, but I don't know how to crochet. I remember though that I have a set of looms. They're different sizes, and one of them I thought maybe could fit the size for this project. However, I knew that I wanted one with more pegs and a little bit bigger than that one I had. So I decided to make my own loom. If you want to see the video of step by step of how to make your own loom and the mistakes that I made, oh my goodness, so you don't have to make them, and where to get your supplies, all your materials. I even got something from the dollar store, so that can save you a lot of money. I will have that link in the description down below. So stay with me and let's make some crochet loom Easter eggs. Let me show you the collection of looms that I have and which one is best for this project. This first set is a set of loom that comes with many sizes, different pegs. I originally got it because I wanted to make a hat, and this is the best to make a hat. If you want to make a hat, I will discourage you from making your own loom because you need a lot, and the pegs have this group that will totally help you. But for the project that I'm making right now, let me show you what other options you have. So the smallest one that they have is the 5 peg one. That was too small for my loom egg. The next one is an 8 peg that I'm currently using. It is nice, it is good. Technically it works, but I wanted one with more pegs and a little bit bigger. Even though I'm using the smallest egg, which I found them at the Dollar Tree. They are very cute, they are gold. They come in this little egg carton. This one is a little bit too small for that size of egg. It will stretch out too much. So that's why I decided to make my own. Now this one, my husband helped me to drill that hole in the center. I used some pegs. Cost me $0 because I had everything. This is the frame from the dollar store. Again, I have the link of the video in the description box. $1.25. I think the pegs you can get them at Hobby Lobby for $1.49. So under $3 you can have your own loom. And then because I was walking around Hobby Lobby and Michael's and looking for things that can help you make your own loom quickly, cheaply, I found this kind of loom, which is very interesting. It's a flexi loom, and the way it works, it comes with different links. Let me show you in the box. So you can make your own size of loom in whatever shape you like. This one is turning to be out very nicely. I am actually working on this one. And these are the options that I can give you. 2 of them that I bought, both of them I think I got them at Hobby Lobby. And then the 2 homemade ones. At the end I will show you which one was my favorite for this project. So let's get started. For this project you will need yarn, a knitting loom, a hook, a plastic needle, and a pair of scissors. Grab your knitting loom. I'm using a smaller one to show you how to loom. I also like the color of this loom because it will give me a good contrast so that you can see better. I have already marked with a Sharpie my starting point, which is very helpful. The first thing you need to do is to make a slip knot. And this is how you make a slip knot. Grab your yarn and wrap it around your fingers and take the long end. You're going to loop it through the little loop you just made with your fingers. Then let it off and put it over the first peg we mark. So pull the long end of the yarn to tighten it. I also like to put the leftover yarn into the opening, so it will not bother me as I loop the long end of the yarn. You need to leave a little extra yarn because you will use this extra yarn to sew the bottom of the egg. The length will depend on the size of the egg, but just a few inches will do. Now, you're going to take the long end of the yarn and we are going to go behind the first peg to the right and loop around it. And we do the same with the next peg and so on. This is called an E-wrap, and we are going to do that around each peg until we get back to the beginning. Now don't pull the yarn too tight, or it will be really hard to pull your loops over the top. But don't do it too slack or you may come undone. Once you get back to the beginning, hold your yarn so it doesn't come off your peg and push your loops all the way down to the bottom of the peg. Now we're going to wrap again another row above the first row, and we're going to go around until we get back to the beginning. So we are back at the beginning, and we're going to take our hook and we're going to bring the bottom loop over the top loop. I like to do the last one first, that way I don't accidentally release the yarn and then all comes undone. So insert the hook in the little groove and pull it over the peg. Repeat all the way around. Now that we have done our first row, or what we call our cast row, it is time to do the next one. And we're gonna repeat that over and over again. Now, how many rows you will need, it will depend on the size of your egg. For the smaller ones, usually it takes me about 20 rows. You can check by placing the egg next to the loom to see if you have loomed enough rows. Now remember, you need a little bit extra to cover the bottom of the egg and also the top. Once you think you have enough rows to cover the egg, it's time to use your plastic needle. And what you are going to do is go around a couple of times with your yarn. We need a little bit of extra yarn to sew this egg. We are going to cut the excess yarn. We are going to use our plastic needle. That's why I recommend you get yourself a little package of these plastic needles. They're very cheap. I got mine at Hobby Lobby, and I think one even came with my Loom package. We're gonna go under that. Actually, before we do that, we are going to lift all the loops closer to the top of the loom. If you hear that sound, that's my doggy. He's bored. We are gonna find the first peg that we worked with, and we are going to go under and pass all the thread and release it. We are going to do the same thing again with the second peg, with the third one, and so on. Once you know that all the pegs have the yarn underneath, we're gonna pull it out and we're gonna pull the extra yarn. We wanna secure this very, very well, okay? So pull as much as you can. And now we're gonna sew a couple of stitches in the same direction we were going before. And now I'm gonna go back the other direction. So I'm securing this very well. Now you're gonna ask yourself which one you're gonna use. You're gonna use this side or you're gonna use the wrong side, the inside, which is very, very pretty. If you're gonna use the wrong side, you finish on the outside. One good tip that I got from the internet is to stretch, because it makes a big, big difference when you stretch your loomed yarn. It kind of like activates those stitches. So now, let me see, do I want to use this side, which is very pretty, or do I want to use the wrong side, which is very pretty too? Wow, I don't know. I am going to use the wrong side, so I'm gonna finish my stitch on this side. I'm gonna secure it. Can't pull it very well. You don't want that to come undone after all the work you did. Okay, and now I'm just gonna cut what I don't need. I'll leave a little bit just in case. So I'm gonna turn it around and I'm gonna put my egg. The moment of truth. I'm sorry, the birds are loud again. My dog is running around. It's a very lively home. Okay. See, I told you this loom works, but it's very, very tight. So it's gonna take some work to get that egg in. Okay, almost too short. Now, if it's too short, there is nothing you can do. I mean, there is no way of putting this back in a loom. If it's too long, I'll show you later on what you can do to shorten this. And it seems okay. So we are gonna do the same process. We're gonna thread the yarn, and this is from the bottom end. Remember I told you leave extra yarn when you did your knot. So now we're going to try to go around. Try to get as many loops as possible. Gonna go all around, make sure I have all the loops. And then again, I'm gonna go the opposite direction. My last stitch. Go well. And what I'm going to do is, so you don't see the tail that I cut from the yarn, I'm gonna pull very hard, more than I need to. That way when I cut and I release it, it goes under that stitch and it's lost there. Okay, so technically this will work, but you can see it's a small egg, and because we only had 8 pegs, it's stretched. But the good thing that since we paint this egg pink, you don't notice it that much. Now, if you have this problem that your egg is too small for your loom, it's easy to fix. We're just gonna start from the bottom, not the last part that you sewn from the top of the loom by the end. We are going to start undoing this. It just takes a little bit of time. Now eventually you're going to have a lot of yarn. You do want a little bit of a tail, but I still have a few rows to go, so I'm just going to cut it right now. I do want it a few inches long later on, but right now it will make it easier with a shorter tail end of yarn. Now what I'm going to do is finding an area where it is hard to see the egg, and what I'm going to do is pass the needle all the way there, stretch it extra, and cut. So when you release it, it goes under that, okay? Now this was the tail end from the top that I'm going to do the same thing. I left it long because I didn't know which side I wanted to use, the right side or the reverse side. So I'm just gonna do the same thing. When you release the yarn, it will go under that area. And there you go. So one mistake I made is that I put the egg inside of what I just had loom that it opened. So don't make that mistake. Go ahead and fill your egg with paper. That way it will be harder for someone to grab it and press it enough that it will pop open. And also use your hot glue gun to glue it shut. So here you have it. Different looms with different eggs, and you can see the end result. The first one is the 12 peg that I made, and you can see this is the right side with the braids, and this is the reverse side with different yarns. Now this is a thinner yarn, that's a thicker yarn. I really like this one with a thinner yarn, and also this one, but in reality all these three are very, very cute. They could be a little bit tighter. Do you see how they still have a lot of leftover? But lesson learned. This one from the dollar store is okay. You can see that the braids in here are closer, and in here they're a little bit more separated. That's because the pegs are not as close, but it's still a decent egg if you don't have any tools. This is the one with the flexi pegs that you can put. This is with 12, the right side up, and this is with 16, and it's the inside out. I decided using this one. This is the one that came in a set and has only 8 pegs. As you can see, the braids are very, very separated. Still okay, technically, as I said, you can do this. And this last one is also made with a loom that came in the set. Now this has 24 pegs, and of course it's a bigger egg, but it's so pretty. I think craftsmanship wise, this is the one I like the most. It came so nice. Of course the yarn is a thinner yarn, so that's what it looks more delicate, but also 24 pegs, that means 24 different braids that you can make. This is very pretty, but it's too big for my project, for my idea what I want to do. But imagine having 4 or 5 as a centerpiece in your coffee table. That would look so pretty with different colors. So now the moment of truth. Yes, I like that one the most, but for my idea of what I wanted to do for this project, I have two. This one, which is the link pegs, this is with 16, which is very pretty, very delicate, very similar to the one I saw in the internet, the crochet one, very, very similar. Then my other favorite ones are the one with a homemade loom, very, very nice, especially with a thinner yarn. But even the yellow one is very, very pretty. So what would I recommend you? If you have $14 to spend, this is a great, great one. If you don't want to spend any money, this is also a great alternative. Both are very, very pretty. And also, let me show you different ways of staging these eggs to decorate your home. I found these birds in Hobby Lobby. Aren't they pretty? Look how cute. And they have the crochet look as well. So that's perfect, Mama and Papa, for these beautiful eggs. I hope they still have them. I did get them a couple of weeks ago. But this just completes this look so beautifully. And your little ones, oh my goodness, who doesn't like to see Mama and Papa birdie and these beautiful crochet eggs? You can make this project. They are so beautiful, these Easter crochet loomed eggs, and the nice thing is that you actually can do this with your little ones. They are not that difficult. You will need to help them at the beginning and at the end of the egg when you have to sew them together, but the results are amazing. So you and your little ones can have lots of fun. But until we see each other next time, let's do something wonderful together.